There was a study that you had talked about where these were women who were in relationships, all having challenges in the relationship. One half talked about that too.
Well, that study is in the book, The Myth of Normal, and it was done in Massachusetts. They looked at 2,000 women over a 10-year period.
This is it. Yes.
And those women that were unhappily married and didn't express their feelings were 4 times as likely to die as those women who were also unhappy, but they did express their feelings. So the issue wasn't happiness, the issue was authenticity, self-expression.
Yes. That is profound.
It's frightening.
It's frightening. But why are we not talking about that? I mean, so you should 4 times more likely to die by simply not expressing.
Well, we live in a society which very much is dependent on roles, and roles depend on how other people see you. So we all want to be seen in the best possible light, and society punishes us for being authentic. They don't you're a troublemaker, or you're different, or so basically there's a huge social pressure to conform. And in relationship, of course, we have this fear of being ourselves for fear of being rejected. So it's very common.
Does that speak to, because I've seen you talk about these 2 needs that we have. One being attachment and one being authenticity. Could you explain that? And also, I recently interviewed Will Stewart, who wrote phenomenal books, one being The Status Game. And he talks about, he also sees a need for status as well. So what's your thought in terms of those 2 needs, and do you see status also as an important need for us?
Let me talk about attachment, authenticity, and come back to status.
Okay.
So in the book, The Myth of Normal, children are born with certain needs. Now, one of the essential needs is attachment. Attachment being the drive to be close to somebody for the sake of being taken care of, or to take care of the other. So the essence of the attachment drive, not just in human beings, but in all mammals, and even in birds, is so that the young vulnerable one can be taken care of by the more mature adult one. So the adult has an attachment instinct towards the vulnerable infant, and the infant has an attachment need towards the adult, so that the caretaking can occur the way nature intended it. So now the attachment drive stays with us all our lives. It's never as dire and as dominant and as definitive as it is in childhood, because you're never as vulnerable and helpless and immature, but it stays with us, so that as adults and old people, we still have an attachment need. We're just human beings. We're wired for attachment. So that's clear. But we also have a need to be ourselves, to be authentic, which means to be in touch with our bodies, to be touch with our emotions, and to be able to act according to the truth of ourselves. Now, very simple example, gut feelings. I often ask people this question, which I can put it to you. Have you ever had the experience of having a strong gut feeling, not listening to it, and being sorry afterwards?
Absolutely.
Okay, now, see, that tells me about your childhood. Because, and by the way, we all give the same answer you usually did. Gut feelings are not luxuries. We don't survive without them. They tell us about reality. And nature wired us for it. In nature, where we evolved, how long does any creature survive if they're not in touch with their gut feelings?
Not long at all.
So it's an essential need to be connected to self, auto meaning the self, authenticity. All right, so we have these 2 needs, to be in touch with ourselves, to be able to express that selfhood, and to be able to act on it, and we have the need to attach. Well, what happens to a child where they need to attach, but if they're being themselves, fully expressed, they're not accepted by their parents? Not because the parents don't love them,
right,
but simply because they're too traumatized, or too stressed, or unavailable, or just They can't see the child exactly. Now the child's got this dilemma, an unconscious dilemma. I can be myself, but then I won't be accepted. Or I can go for the attachment by suppressing myself.
My authenticity.
Yeah, now what do you suppose the child has to do in every case?
Right. Suppress yourself.
Suppress yourself.
Yes.
Now, at some point, that's where we lose in touch with our gut feelings. So I don't know what happened to you, but something happened at some point where you learned that for the sake of survival, that is to say, for the sake of maintaining your attachment relationship, you had to give up some aspect of yourself. And so then later on, the gut feeling comes along, we don't listen, and then we suffer. Yeah. So maturity is in many ways, and this can happen in relationship, of course, because then we take our lack of authenticity and a need for attachment into our relationship.
Right.
And it's so hard then to be ourselves in relationship. So it's basically very often two only partially authentic selves or two inauthentic selves get into relationship with each other. And now the task is, can we grow up to be authentic together so we can be ourselves and still be in relationship?
Wow.
Well, that's a beautiful challenge, but it's also a very difficult one.
Many of us grow up believing that to be accepted, we need to hide parts of who we truly are, choosing attachment over authenticity. But this pattern can follow us into our adult relationships, leaving us feeling disconnected or inauthentic. The key to breaking this cycle is to consciously reconnect with your true self. Start by asking, what parts of me have I been holding back to please others? Then take small steps to express that part of yourself. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to be authentic in relationships, which leads to deeper and more fulfilling connections. What you just described, I actually saw so many incidents of my life where I feel like I have suppressed myself, not only as a child, but also through adolescence.
Well, you do, because once you associate survival with self-suppression, then you continue to suppress yourself. So that these patterns are laid down early in life, but they become the template for later on. That's the whole problem.
Right.
The suppressing of yourself wasn't the temporary strategy on your part. It wasn't even a strategy. It was something your organism did automatically. You didn't do it. Your organism did it, unconsciously. But because it's unconscious, it's hard to give it up. So then you become an adolescent and you try and fit in with the peer group for the sake of being accepted. And then as an adult, you always do whatever you can to be accepted. And only gradually does it dawn on you that, oh my God, this is costing me. And there's something missing here. And what's missing is me.
So being aware of that now, at this moment, how do we then become more authentic? How do we increase our authentic selves?
Yeah. Well, the awareness is the big thing. Now, the second thing is to be really compassionate with yourself, so that rather than berating ourselves, I'm not being authentic, I'm a phony, forget all that. Nobody is a phony. You became that way as a way of survival. It had a survival value to it. But now it's no longer functioning to support you. So the first thing is to be aware of it. The second thing is to look at its impacts. So for example, one way that people have trouble being authentic is they have trouble saying no. When people have demands on them, where the person perceives that there's demands on them to be a certain way, and the world is asking you to do this, that, and the other, and you never say no. Do you know that one at all personally? Okay. All right. So let me ask you this question then. I'm not probing here, just as much as you're willing to share, but if I asked you, there's basically two areas where people have trouble saying no. One is personal relationships, and the other is work.
Work.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, choose one. Where in those areas do you have trouble saying no?
Work, for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. So let me ask you this question, and this is actually an exercise you can do with yourself.
Okay.
And I do lay it out in the Myth of Normal there. What is the impact on you of not saying no?
Drained.
Fatigued.
Fatigued, yeah.
Okay. So that little word, 2-letter word, has huge implications if we don't employ it. Okay? So, fatigue, being drained. Okay? Now, fatigue being drained, of course, is not only an impact on you, it's also an impact on your spouse and then on your child.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So it's got huge implications. That's the second point, is just what is the impact. The third question then is, what is the story behind your difficulty saying no? Like, what do you believe? If I say no, then what? There's a story there.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Someone else is going to take the opportunity that I could have had.
So there's a fear of loss.
Fear of loss.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, who would you be without that fear?
Bold. Fearless. You know, I would be true to myself.
You'd be free.
Yes.
First of all, this fear of loss. How important is it? Like, what if you did lose some opportunities for the sake of gaining personal freedom? I mean, if you look at this issue of I won't have enough, how familiar is that fear to you?
Of not having enough?
Yeah.
Acute.
How far does it go back?
From the beginning.
So it's got nothing to do with the present moment. So it's not that it's selfish, it's that it's old. And it had some basis to it at a certain point in your life, but it probably doesn't anymore. So basically, it's the past running our present. So when you say, how do you give it up? You recognize the impact, and you recognize its source, and then you do, is it really necessary? Is it really true right now?
Right.
I could actually be free. Now, some people in this unequal, unjust world, it's certainly true. They have limited room for action because they might really be poor. They might really be having to do jobs that they don't like with bosses that are not fair. But given the economic situation in this world of inequality, they may not have a whole lot of choice in the matter. So I don't want to generalize, but for many of us, this inability to say no is not demanded by our present circumstances. It's old programming. And so, how do you become more authentic? Learn how to say no.
Yes.
And by the way, let me ask you another question. When it comes to authenticity, have you ever been in a situation, I mean I have, where you're in some social scene and afterwards you feel a bit ashamed because I wasn't really myself?
Yes.
Okay, now, what is the feeling in your body when you admit to yourself that you weren't yourself, that, you know, I kind of pretended or I gave myself up?
Disappointment.
Yeah, there's a kind of something here that's not pleasant, you know? So listen to your body again. So when you say, how do you become authentic? Listen to your body.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So learn how to say no, listen to your body. And there's one final question. Are there areas in your life where your ambitions or intentions or passions or calling, but you're not saying yes to?
There must be.
Well, maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
That I'm not saying yes to.
Yeah. Well, that's costing you as well. Because that creates frustration. So, on the one hand, we're too busy not saying no, and then we don't have time to say yes to what really matters to us.
Right.
So it's a huge, this yes and no is the best way to find out about your authenticity. Where am I not saying no? Where there's a no that wants to be said? And what's the story behind it? And then where am I not saying yes? And what is that costing me?
Okay.
And you know, I really had to learn that. Both my wife and I had to learn is to say no. And trust that the relationship will still endure. The other person being authentic.
Yes.
You know. Now this applies not just to, it applies to all genders, but women particularly, because women are particularly programmed not to say no in this culture. it costs them hugely in terms of mental and physical health.